right, guys. I don't think I muted myself tonight. I think uh, I think I got everything okay. So we're ready to rock and roll. This is it. This is the final exam. Uh, there's fans here have been waiting a long time. Some of these older fans got to see championships. Some like me got to see Super Bowls but no championships. But it's been a long, did I say long time since we have been relevant. And this is the moment. Starts right now. Sean, what's going on, man? Yeah. Would you say there's a must win? No. I think the Ravens and the Bills. You're not going to get all three. I mean, if you do, woo, man, blow my hair back. It would be a great win, but the Ravens, especially the Bills, are the key ones. Oh yeah, Merry Christmas to you and yours. Merry Christmas to everyone coming up, man. My kids are counting down like you won't believe. I love watching them love Christmas. So Merry Christmas to everyone. Let me see. Jared Hill, what's going on? You the man, Curtis. It's time. Sometimes I try to tell my wife that all the time, but she gives me like maybe 50%. So I'll take that. I'll take that, man. Get a little juice in the bank. Let's see. Like the video. Yeah, thanks, brother. Which one? This or the other one? Or the beginning opening one. Whatever. I'm glad you like it. Hammer time. My man, that's it, man. You came over. You were a Dallas fan, weren't you? And now you came over. You're a Dolphins fan for a while now. This is your time to get back at your former team and make it happen, brother. I hope it works out for you and me. Good to see you, Hammer. You're a great guy. I love you, man. So, all right, guys, this is it. I don't think that this game's a must win. Somebody said must win some up there. Who is it? Oh yeah, it's Sean. If we can get all three, we have control the AFC. So in that regard, yeah, it's a must win. But in the practicality of playing three tough teams, one on the road, being full of injuries, I don't know if we're going to get all three. I'm hoping we can get two. Two is key. If we lose all three, there's a chance we miss the playoffs, but very low. Obviously, the Bills game is just it's key. Yeah, for momentum, totally. I mean, you can't put enough on the win, but I try to deal in like, is it a crippler to us? Would it just say, oh, now we're doomed? No, I mean, the Ravens then would kind of become a must win, which is very tough on the road. So I think that we can get this Dallas game, especially with the injuries. Tyler Smith is going to be out. That's big. Adogba's coming. He's not a chump, but then you got Steele on the other side. And then you got Zach Martin. He's injured. And so there's a real opening for us. It would be great for momentum. But if we can take the Dallas game, then you might end up losing that away game to the Ravens. It could be bad, tough weather, whatever. And then you have the Bills game. So you'd end up being 12, getting 12 wins. And, you might not get the AFC. You might, see if the Ravens lose. But so the Dallas game's big. It will hurt us as, even from what you're saying is the momentum. Like if we lose it and that's not a pretty loss or something, then there's going to be a lot of weight on us going into that Ravens game. And there's going to be a lot of pressure to win that road game. And then if not, then you're like sitting there with the Bills last, you gotta Hulk smash here, man. And smash the like button. I got to do that thing now. I got to do the sell thing. So you just made me remember. So, let's get into it. To me, with Tyler being out, it opens up a lot for us. I mean, you saw what Chubb did last week, but he was playing against Becton, and Becton's slow, big, but Dogba's smaller and more nimble, but he's not great. And so Chubb really has a chance to take advantage of that. And on the other side, Steele, he's hot and cold. And then you got Van Ginkel who can take a chance on that. So what this is going to do probably with with the injury of Tyler, it's going to force those edges to crumble. And then Dallas is going to have to try to get inside to the teeth, the strength of our defensive line. That's very good. Now, on our side, the loss of Hunt's big. I'm going to go over all the matchups. running game is absolutely key. I'll just open up right here with this little thing I did early on one of my podcasts. And you can see Arizona destroyed the Cowboys. They had 29 runs, 7.6 yards per carry, 220. Some of that was on Dobbs running the football and picking up big yards. Other parts was just blew out the interior of this Cowboys defensive line. And that's how you really get to them. Attack the interior. Then Philly, they didn't have a great day, but 33 carries. That mass amount of carries keeps them from getting their pin in their ears back, beats them up. A little bit of depth issues on that line. And, but they got 109, which is not a terrible day, 3.3, which is not great, but that's a lot of beatings. And then you see San Fran just rip them inside. It's mostly to the left, but 40 carries, 160 yards. And then this week, you can see with Buffalo, I got the graphic here, and you can see what their run attack looked like. And most of it was between tackles. Even some of those long ones were breaks between tackles and then even just off tackle. There wasn't any wide stuff. And because basically both their corners, Bland and Gilmore, are really good. And even the nickel guy is good in run defense. And so that kind of limits the edges a little bit. But interior, they got some issues, and I'll show you susceptibility they got to that. So it's going to come down to our offensive line. Now, Jackson's going to be in. Hankins is out. Yeah, but that's going to force us to attack that interior. Now, we can attack that interior on zone stretch and come back. And I think that's really what we're going to try to do. I don't know how much inside zone hit inside, but if we can, because that's what Philly did, that's what San Fran did, it's going to really hurt them big time. But yes, it does hurt for them to be out. They've got issues. They're so much like us in so many regards. If you look at Tua and you look at Dak, you look at, where the offensive line is right now, you look at the problems beating the quote unquote better teams. They've beaten some good teams, winning teams, Seattle and Philly and who else? Somebody else. They beat somebody else's winning record. But they got some of the issues that we got. And so this is going to, the loss of Smith on that left tackle spot really opens the door. Now, our interior line is going to be very, very challenged. But I like our defense better than theirs. I think that when you look at our interior, it is way more stout than theirs. They got better rushers, just pure speed rushers. A shame we don't have Phillips. They've got some good corners. They got a good safety. Their linebackers are men's. And that's why if you can get to that second level in those linebackers, you can really open it up. Yeah, he is. Jones is much better at man and inside zone, but they're not going to play him. He's not going to come in unless there's an injury because they're going to want to run that outside zone. Unless something changes, I figure it's going to be Cotton. Maybe he's going to have to start. Yeah, he's going to have to start now. You got Eichenberg, unless they bring – now, we don't know what's going to happen. They're going to bring this other guy that they've got him stashed to play center and put Eichenberg at right guard. Or are they going to have Cotton? Where are they going to play the guys? We don't really know exactly. But you figure probably, I guess you're right. Jones is going to have to play. He's going to have to play. That's right, man. Wow, I didn't even think about it. I kind of thought about it. It was like right in front of my face, but it didn't really dawn on me. He's going to have to play. And, the problem is he struggles with pass rush. And then when you got Lawrence and then Parsons doing those twists on Jackson and Jones, going to be a little troubling. He struggled in the pass game. But he is good at inside zone, so maybe that will help. It's just, who you got next to him. I would actually like to see him next to Tehran because Tehran is the second best run blocker on the team. But that's true, man. I can't believe that. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't even see that. So, it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be very tough goings for us with this offensive line. We're going to have to run outside zones. So, but maybe that's some of the inside zone will open up because he does. If you ever watch Jones, he really can manhandle a guy and seal the guys off. I just don't know if Eichenberg's next to him and Jackson's on the other side, they're going to be able to help that peel because when you run inside zone, you at least need two guys that are moving somebody, and that's why Connor and Hunt were so important. So anyway, it's going to be the key. When you see this, This is what we're going to kind of have to need a little bit. But we got Hill and Waddle, and that's going to set some of the leverage. That's going to push some guys off. And then Mostert, I did a little thing on him in my other podcast. His physical running style inside is going to be the key. Achane's good. He's good at this space and to break it, but he's 185, maybe 190 pounds. Mostert's 215 to 220. So it's going to be, and he just runs way more physical. This is going to be his game. Now, McDaniel held him out for 2 days. So it'll be very interesting to see how healthy he really is. Hey, Reese's, what's going on, man? If McDaniel calls a good game, lots of rushes and pass attack in the middle, we will have success. Yeah, we'll have the chance. It will put it on the table. This is a good team. They've got offense and they got defense. They can get after the quarterback. But we can do the same thing. These are almost mirror teams. And Tua is, whatever you want to say about Tua, he's having a phenomenal season. Dak's even having a little bit better, especially under pressure. And in these defenses, they can both do a lot of stuff. You got talented receiving group. Ours is high point talented more, but they've got 3 guys across the board. You could talk about Wilson and Berrios too. But where will Hill be at? So this game is just really going to be about who comes out to play. Now, Dallas, they come out of the chute very sloppy on the road. And it'll be very interesting to see if they can pull themselves together. They come out very sloppy. Every time I watch them, they're so hyped and over-energized. They make a lot of early mistakes. Don't be surprised if Ike plays right guard, Jones left guard, the new guy. Yeah, I kind of said that a little bit early. You can't be surprised. I don't know what they're going to do. We don't know about Jackson. Is Jackson going to be ready? He's questionable. So then you got Lamb, and then he might be in a backup role. I've been talking about this for a little bit. Offensive line, it takes the most amount of chemistry to get the job done. And it used to be 2-a-days and lots of hitting. And the offensive line play was always so much better because it was a lot of reps. But now you don't get those reps. You get shortened preseason. And now you're getting all these injuries. Somebody was saying there's more offensive line injuries this season than any other season. I don't know if that's true. Somebody fly on the wall told me that. But it does seem like there's a lot. And then when you get these rotating parts, we might be on our 12th iteration of this offensive line. And it's so hard to build chemistry, with the guy next to you as a unit. So we don't know. It'll be very, very interesting. If we can pull this one out, I feel much better about Hunt next week and definitely go, the week after that. And maybe we'll be a little healthier. This is a big one because we are very injured, but that offensive line is going to be very interesting. Yeah, Cotton is bad, but they like him. They like him. They like Eichenberg. McDaniel said that Eichenberg was, having a very cool season. And I don't really see that, I'm saying, like, it's kind of like, someone trying to sell me something. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. At times he's been okay when he's been protected, when you got, Connor and Hunt and Tehran and, whatever, a lesser team. But I don't understand how he went into the season with him as the backup center or Cotton as a backup guard. I think it was kind of crazy, This is going to be a good game. I do believe that. I believe because Fangio's defense is going to be there. It's going to be there. And that's going to keep things down. And it's going to keep us where we can get those couple of big plays. And without Tyler in there, Smith, it's really going to put a lot of pressure on them to run the football and to protect. And because they can be explosive too, just like us. I think there's going to be a phenomenal game. I really do. And I think we have the edge now with Smith down. What are your thoughts on X and Ramsey against Lamb and company? Is X going to play? I think he's going to. How well he's going to play. Ramsey can cover anybody. I mean, he's not Dion, but he's really good. But they got 3 guys. And they've got Cook, Lamb, and Gallup. And then they got that tight end who's pretty good too. And they got Pollard who can come out. The tight end worries me a little bit. I can't remember what his name is. What's his name? I got it right over here. Hold on a second. Is it number 3? This guy, Ferguson. This guy's is a good dude, man. I've watched him. He makes some plays, and you see that they run almost the same amount of play action as we do, and as we run more. We're number 2, they're number 9. But if you go over some like the similarities between the offense, we're number 2 at 15.2% play actions. They're 9, and then we are on 2's on target percentage is 82.2. Actually, no, Dax is 82.2, number 1. 2 is number 3 at 81.1. Bad handwriting, man. Bad throw percentage. 2 is 30th at 11.3, and then Dak is 29th, 12 point something. So these guys are all delivering the football very good, both sides. And they run a lot of play action, which puts a lot of bodies there. They get the ball out pretty quick. A two gets his out at 76% at 2.14. And then Dak gets it out at 79. It's 75.9% for Tua at 2.14 seconds to throw, but then Dak gets it out at 68.8 at 2.38. So he's not as fast, but it's really fast. And so they're going to get the ball out, both these guys. It's can that secondary slow down enough for the pressure to get there? And I like us being able to do it a little bit better. Yeah, Elliott's going to be in, which is a big deal. Holland's not, very concerned about his knees. Who will cover? Ferguson. They'll do it through zones. Long concerns me a little bit. Duke concerns me a little bit. But depending on how the zones look, but he's not going to kill you, but he can pick up a couple of those nice first downs. You can't let him go off. Yeah, Jake Ferguson. He's like the yellow guy. They had another guy they let walk. I think he's with the Panthers now, or he's with Texans. Kind of similar kind of guy. Remember when our staff said that the fans were more worried about the oh yeah. It's funny. It's that's really funny. Duke has been playing well. He's all over the field. Yeah, but he's a little slow of foot, and so is Long. And Long kind of doesn't. He gets lost sometimes in his zones when he's got too big a coverage. I've shown that a couple times. And if he's got to cover too far, he doesn't have the fleet of foot to keep up. And Duke's a little bit better in his awareness in the zones, but he's not as fleet of foot. He's not fleet of foot either. So they can get, Dalton Schultz. Yeah, they're like the same guy. Both really good, man. I don't know. He's only second year for this Ferguson kid, but I really like what he's doing, man. It could be a little, because they run a lot of play action, and I'll put the bodies there because they're going to need that with those 2 tackles where they are, unless Steele steps up. Every once in a while, every other game he steps up. So I don't know if he's going to step up this time. And I don't know if Adoga, whatever the guy's name is, going to be able to handle Chubb. But they're going to run a lot of play actions. And I think this game's going to be like in a 20-something range for both teams, like 24, 27, 21, 28. I think it's going to be really like in that range. I mean, that's just that's my guess, But speaking of, somebody said, look at this. Omar Kelly says, I say this all the time on the Old Dolphins podcast. This season's fate is in the O-line's hands. I don't remember people saying that except for me. Now people are starting to say it. And we can't write anything in stone right now. Clearly, this is the biggest concern. But if somehow they right the ship, if they can somehow get this thing through with these pieces the way it is, Chris Greer will be hailed as brilliant. And the Dolphins really do have a shot. I don't know. For me, this has been my biggest concern all season before the season even started, the depth and even the starting talent. And both of them have been a concern. But here we are. But we can still beat this Dallas team. And if we do, it's going to say a ton about this build. But if it does come up, if the depth does come up to be a big problem, then there's going to be big problems going forward with our build. Next year's going to be very hard to pull this thing together, a brand new offensive line and all these pieces. So it will be very interesting. 73-0 Phins for the win. I like that. I'll take it. We had a 70-20, 73. I don't know if it's going to be that. But the key thing for me, I got so far, I'll go through my little graphics that I created. But on offense, stay on schedule. There's no way you want Lawrence and Parsons teeing off on this offensive line against Jackson and Lamb and Roberts and Eichenberg and Cotton. You don't want that. We've got to stay on schedule. A lot of teams have talked about how you got to stop that first down run. We get that first down run and we stay on schedule to be key. Now, stopping Parsons, you're really not going to stop him. But if you attack him, you run at him, you wear him out, and you keep him from pinning his ears back, and that's going to be critical. Now, the screen game, we've upped our screen game. They're one of the biggest passing defenses in the league. They're like 36% or something, some crazy number. Now, they blitz. Teams don't blitz because they just feel like it. They blitz because they want pressure or they want to increase the pressure. Now, will the front four of Dallas get enough pressure where they can keep 7 in the secondary? And that's going to be a big key. But if they start blitzing and they have a tendency to really like the blitz, the screens that we've been using over the last couple of weeks could come up big. I mean, because you get a screen out to Achane or Mostert or Hill or Waddle, we've seen them break for big, big gains. And so for me, the screen is, let's see, I read somewhere that Parsons could be used as a LB middle linebacker to boost the run defense. Maybe. For us, can whoever's in the middle, those 3 guys in the middle, can they draw that run blitz? Can they lock down that front D line and then get to that linebacking group and create those spaces, those gaps for us to penetrate and gash? And that's going to be the thing. It's going to be our 5 versus their 4, and how much extra do we add and how much extra do they add? And that's going to be really the key battle, I think, for this. Does Dallas run primary defense? Isn't that too specialty? It depends. KC ran a lot of man, but they also ran some zones. Yeah, Dallas likes man, but they play zones too. But what the man does is when a man comes up to the receiver and they play up close, it slows the clock down, throws the timing of the route off, unless they're really bad, and then they get fried. And then they get fried over the top if they don't put a safety over the top like some of these dumb teams are doing. But it will push the clock up. It will make the time to throw higher. And then that will force the offensive line to block more. Now, we do some amazing things where we keep like 8 guys in, and then you got 2, and then 2 guys run routes, Hill and Waddle, and those 2 guys are like 4 guys, and we get these big chunk plays. It will be interesting to see how it plays out if Hill can go all game. But they'll run a lot of man. Bland and Gilmore only allowing 50% completion percentage. And so they're good, and they don't miss tackles. They do get beat over the top at times. They do allow a big play on occasion. And that's something where Hill or Waddle could really turn this game around. Shekel, what's going on? Hey, brother. Gary Guys, which lineman is not playing besides Hunt? Right now, only Jackson's the unknown. We don't know if I think Jackson's going to play, and I hope he does. I mean, I'm not the biggest Jackson fan. I don't think he's terrible. But I think we need all the bodies we can get. Because Keon Smith versus Parsons, if something happens to Lamb, doesn't send a thrill up my leg, So we're really on we're very, very thin. So thankfully, Jackson looks like he's going to play. And Jackson, I think, is going to play, which will have Lamb in the background, which will be very big for us. We need that kind of breather because this is oblique. So I don't know how long he's going to last against Parsons, but maybe bring him in and let him wear out and then bring Lamb in. I heard that Buffalo Bills ran away from Parsons all night, took him out of the game that way. Not sure we can do that, though. Well, we got to run, they move Parsons on both sides. But really, Tehran is a guy who can neutralize, even he's all banged up. He can do that zone stretch and wall guys off and shield them and even drive them out if they lose leverage. And he can go one-on-one even with Parsons for the most part. So I didn't really see if they ran away from him, but maybe they did. But I know they ran inside a lot. They ran inside a lot. I showed the graphic. I don't know if you saw the graphic. There's a few outside, but there's a ton inside. And it was just a pounding away to weaken that defense. And I'm going to get to what they look like. Cook looked amazing. They did. Cook looked amazing. If you can do that, I think Mostert and A-Chain can be effective, except that the Bills have the same offensive line all season, and their offensive line's better than ours, and it starts with that. So we can, if somebody misses contain on the edge, if somehow we can get guys out, if Robert Jones can get in there and start moving guys. He's a big guy. He's bigger than anybody on that D line. Hooker's out, not Hooker. What's his name? The D tackle. He's pretty big, but the rest of the guys aren't big. So maybe he can muscle his way out. And I think to the left side, you can get where Tehran moves somebody. Although I'm not a little concerned about Cotton. But they're a little different because they could be physical. And then they have to play a certain way against Allen because they're worried about Allen breaking contain and running himself. But if we could do that, yeah, they're doomed. I mean, if we can run the football with the way we could throw the football, any team is doomed. They ran away from him and he couldn't get to the runner through all the traffic. Yeah, I guess you got to stay away from him. That guy's a beast. That guy's an absolute beast. Now, I'm going to show you right here. Let's see. Okay. So this is, that's not the one I want to show you. I want to show this one. All right, here. So if you look, this would be our nickel against their nickel. But what I'm trying to show here is the run game. Okay. So they're really strong on their edge run defense. Even the other guy, Lewis, I can't even see it. It's so small, I can't see it. The nickel cornerback, the slot corner. He's not good in pass coverage, but he's really good in run coverage. And then Lawrence is really good at run stop. Parsons is okay, but the linebackers aren't. Their one safety isn't. Hooker's really good at run stop. And so it forces us to kind of get inside and attack in the interior. Now, Jones is going to be playing. Eichenberg, they got here. Who knows? They could rotate this around. But I'm not really too fond of what we got here as far as straight-up run blocking. But with Armstead at the edge, we can get that zone stretch with a Waddle being able to block. Now, Hill, I got him in yellow because how much do they want him to run block with that ankle? Berrios can't run block. I mean, is this a time for some other, we got all the guys in the background that could step up and maybe deliver some nice run blocking from that receiver group. Tight ends are really terrible. Hill's not good. Smythe's he's having a kind of a poor season. Ingle's not bad. Ingle's pretty good. But it's going to be a lot of that. Maybe we can get the zone stretch and come back inside, but you got to test that area, those linebackers, their rotation group aside from Lawrence, who doesn't see tons and tons of snaps because he's a little bit older. So it really will come down to this run game. Now in the pass game, they're really good in the pass game. They're good. They're one of the best pass defenses in the league. And obviously we have two of the best receivers. Yeah, Claypool. I mean, it's about time for him to step up. We could have gotten somebody else. We could have got some offensive linemen out there. Maybe it's his time. We need blocking because even though we can't really block that well, we're so fast and the leverage created keeps guys off that when we run these zone stretches, the spaces pop open because somebody will just make a small mistake. And then if you can get somebody to block at that second level, then we could take it. I've been hearing all week that Dallas does not have success defensively versus Shanahan-type offense. The variety of motions confuse their defensive alignments. I don't know. I didn't hear that, but I believe that most defenses are. And then when you add in the man coverage, the high usage of man coverage, that's a good point. Well, good concept. I got to look into that, Garrett. I appreciate that. We should have told me beforehand. I'd have studied it out. But the motions are going to cause problems. All it takes is one mistake, and Achan's running for a touchdown. Mostert's running for a touchdown. Hill and Waddle are running for a touchdown. But for all the alignments, it's still going to come down to blocking. And we just need you. So I did film for what Tua can do. You don't have to give him a lot, but you got to give him something. Now they blitz a lot. And if you look at our blitz time, I heard from Alf and Travis Wingfield, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'll take that. I'll take it from Alf. Travis Wingfield, I don't, he's hit or miss for me, but I like Alf, so I'll take that to the bank. But when you run motions and you have man, you can have problems, but it's still going to come down to how you're going to have to hold up at a certain period of time. And if you look at our, the biggest concern I have is the blitz. You look at Dak, his time to throw when blitzed is 2.49. You look at, say, another good team like Kansas City, and he's mobile, but his blitz time is 2.43. You look at, say, San Fran, not really mobile, blitz time 2.6 seconds. You keep going down the line, but when you come to us, our time to pick up the blitz is horrific at 2.09 seconds. It's actually 0.02 seconds less than our clean time to throw. And it's good because they'll blitz us and then we'll get the big play. We'll get the touchdown. But if it gets there too quick, then it starts creating problems. And it's that tenuous between the sack and then the big play. And when you got two good corners and then a Malik Hooker's in there, then it might put the blitz getting to us more than the big play. That's going to be a big deal. So, there's the motions and all that. Dallas likes to play man, which is probably why they struggle for motion. Anytime you play man, that we saw what happened to us, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Against the Titans. We were playing man in the red zone, and then they ran a rub, and then Howard went with his guy totally and sealed off two of our defenders, and then the guy was open for a quick, easy, it was a 2-point conversion, a touchdown. Anytime you have man and his motions, then you have to readjust. Everybody's got to readjust, and there can be problems. But, even when you get that motion and stuff, because KC ran a lot of man, but their pressure got to us so quick that it kind of inhibited some of the advantage we got. So it was a give and a take. It's how much can you give and how much can you take? So that's definitely truth to it, but it's going to still come down to protections. We're going to have to hold up to a certain period of time. But, if you look, you saw Reed from the Jets. He's really good, but he got burnt by Waddle. And so it could be the same thing. And you look at Bland, he gets some big plays, but he makes some dumb ones too. And he kind of gets a little burnt, like he had problems with what's-his-face over in Seattle. And if Hill's 100%, I could expect that. I expect a little bit less with Waddle. And so, I think there's a lot of stuff that could be had from that motions and their man, but it's going to start in that interior. If they get too much pressure too quick, it's going to negate it. And so how well do we stand up? Now, if you look at them, they had Smith, who's, one of the top 5 tackles. But now they got Adoba. Metcalf's a beast, but so is Hill, just a different kind of beast. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Metcalf's a freak of freaks. I mean, he's almost as fast as Hill, and he's gigantic. I mean, he's a total freak. Curtis, you more concerned with the O or D? O offense. I think our D is going to do well. I think our D can hold it down. I think our D can keep it contained, and if our offense can have a semi-decent day, we can win. I mean, because you go look at this. Look, I mean, we'll have Hollins probably not going to play, and you have Jones in there, and that's a little bit of a concern. Got a little bit of concern with Duke Riley and Long in the long pass game. When they have to cover for long periods of time in a man, or if the zone sometimes they lose the distance in the zone. But you got Kohus, who plays natural spot as long as X is in, and I think X is going to play. And then you got Ramsey, and then Elliott's playing really, really good for us, and he'll come back and play that high cover safety look with some man. And I think we'll be able to handle that. And you got, Van Ginkel on Steele, who struggled. You got Chubb on Adoba, who's supposed to be able to beat him, no problem. And then you got the two best DT combo in Sealer and Wilkins. And then you could bring in Davis in there to rotate. And you got Martin, who's kind of injured. And then Smith, he's the left guard. He's just been playing Adoba. How much does he have to overcompensate? Is there a chemistry? Because they haven't played together in a couple of games, like maybe 4 or 5 games. So I just think that our defense should handle this. I think it's a good offense. I think we got to watch out if they could somehow hold up and they could let that clock go. Dak is really good under pressure and he could deliver. He's got a big arm. He's mobile. They got a good run game, but it's the offense. And you can't, look at this. Cotton, Eichenberg, and Jones, or the other guy, I can't remember his name. He hasn't been playing football in 4 years. That's your interior, And Jackson, he's our starter, and I'm not the highest on him, but he's your starter. And then you got Armstead on the exterior. They should be able to hold it up with what Tua does. It's that interior, and so I think Tua, Hill, Waddle, and McDaniel will be able to mitigate a lot. It's how quick Parsons and Lawrence gets in there. Oh, they're playing possessed right now. They're great. They're playing so well. I just really hope we can keep them together. I definitely think we're going to keep them together next year. The following years, it will be very interesting. Now, our defense, Fangio is probably, to me, Fangio is the brightest mind on the field. One second. I like McDaniel a ton, but and Dan Quinn I like too. Dan Quinn, I almost forgot his name. Dan Quinn's really, really good. But Fangio is the brightest mind. He revolutionized the defense in the NFL. So we have the brightest mind, one of the brightest minds in the game in the last 20 years as our D coach. And he's got mostly a healthy defense. And they've got a wounded offensive line. So really it's in our favor on offense and defense. It's now, can our offense manage against their defense? And that's going to be pretty interesting. Zonka. Dak does pretty well against the blitz, doesn't he? Yeah, he does. He plays well against pressure all around. He gets the ball out quick. He makes good decisions. He's mobile. I don't think Smith being out and Adoba being in is like a death sentence. He's capable. And they've got the 3 inside as long as they stay healthy. And they've got some tight ends. They got 2 tight ends that block really well. Ferguson and another backup that they got blocks pretty well. And so, this is no easy task for this defense, but they are, the offensive line is the heart of the offense and it's in shambles. So, if Tua and Waddle and Hill and McDaniel pull this one off, and you got to give them so much credit. And even Chris Greer for designing this thing in a very weird way, very risky way, very high risk way. And it still pays off. It's can Parsons destroy these guys and Lawrence destroy these guys? And can that secondary not give up those big plays? 2 big plays and then all of a sudden you're trailing and they get very nervous. If you watch them when they fall behind or they come out, they're all excited. They make stupid mistakes and big plays happen. And then they fall behind and they dig bigger holes for themselves. So who will have the composure? And how will this offensive line stand up? To me, if Hill's 100%, which I don't know if he's going to be, and Waddle's 100%, it's going to be tough for those guys because Gilmore's good, but he's not, he's got a 4.4, maybe 4.5, 40 now. They're playing man. How long can, all it takes is a good block, whether it's through play action, and then Waddle and Hill are open. And all it takes is 2 or 3 plays, and you got 21 points. And Do I think that they're going to put on 21 points against our defense? Maybe, but if we score too quick, they're going to get nervous. So to me, it's that defense will play well. I don't think they're going to get over 30 points against us. I think our offense is the question mark. Can we be balanced? Can we get positive yards on first down? Are they going to be dumb enough to cover Hill one-on-one and have the safety come up and get one of those easy plays, on a blitz? Or are they going to play cover too high with some man and then, get that into 2-4-5, 2-5 time to throw. And then the pressure gets to 2 and he's got to run and he gets hit a couple times. And now you got a game. They should fare well. Steele could be hot and cold. Adogba's only 308. And he's a better pass rusher than a run blocker. But Chubb's a $23 million man. He should handle Adogba. And Steele, they paid him a lot of money, man, crazy amount. Oh, man, Reese's Pieces, man. I guess that'll be my Christmas present. Yeah, thanks, bro. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I really do. I hope we run 25. You have to. And set up play action and wear them out. Without a doubt. Look, you look at the chart. I showed you the chart over here. I'll put it up. I'll put it back up because you gave me $10, man. I'm going to go party tonight, I think. See, Arizona 29 times. San Fran rushed 40 times. Buffalo 49. Philly 33. The magic number has got to be like in the high 20s. Reese's got it. We got to run the ball effectively. But, we can run that first half and just run the football. And if we're not picking up a lot of yards, as long as it's wearing them out and the game is, in balancing back and forth, it's fine. But likely at some point, we're going to have to put on yards too, unless we can do like Philly can and get 33 carries and then get 109 yards at 3.3. We could do that and then add in our pass game. That would be great. We're going to have to run the football. There's no two ways about it. I really don't like the perimeter screens, but they might be effective. Yeah, well, they anytime you have a heavy 36%, they blitz like 36% of the time. And so if you dial up that blitz at the wrong time and you get that screen with some fast guys, it could be a nightmare. So it's about timing. And really those screens get dialed up because you're trying to alleviate the pressure or you're getting blitzed. But if those 4 guys in the front are able to manage the run game and then also get pressure without having to bring too much blitz, then the screen value diminishes. And so it really is going to come down to that run game. It's going to come down to that blocking. It's going to come down to how foolish they are. I mean, are they going to be stupid? Like, I cannot believe some of these teams, you got Hill or you got Waddle. Like sometimes Waddle's the only guy on the field, Hill's off, and then they'll put one-on-one coverage on Waddle, and then we run a play action and Waddle's wide open. Or they'll do the same thing with Hill. It's the dumbest thing. You play cover 2. If they got 1 guy on the field, you double them. If they got 2 guys on the field, you play cover 2 and let your guys get after them. But some of these guys are just ridiculous, man. I don't know how they got a job. Yeah, I love these comments. Good group of Fin fans tonight in live stream. Hit the like buttons, guys. Yeah, hit the like button. But you guys have great comments. Like I think it was Garrett said a whole thing. I didn't hear about that, about the they struggled versus our motions. I mean, I knew man struggles versus motion, but I didn't know they were particularly susceptible. Yeah, this is great, always great comments from you guys, except when you call me a dummy. But then sometimes you might be right. I really don't. Oh, we did that one. Oh, Zoesta. Yo, Ace, thanks for your content. Happy holidays and New Year to you and your fam. How can we contain a T Ferguson? Are you worried about their receivers? He's not going to destroy you. He's not going to be a Kelsey. But if in the right moment, he could pick up a couple of good first downs. And then if he picks up a couple of good first downs, now all of a sudden the players and Fangio starts focusing on him. And then once they start focusing on him, then like Gallup and Lamb and Cook, then they can get the big play. So Ferguson is a guy that he could get the key first down here and there, but then he sucks attention up and it opens someplace up because, Kohu, he's good, but if you got to let him sit in man coverage to mid to late clock, there's going to be a problem there. Even X, sometimes he struggles mid to late clock, depending on how healthy he is. Ramsey, I don't worry about him at all, But so Ferguson is like that guy that sucks in the defense and then picks up the first downs. He could still, if you shut everything else down and you shut their run game down, he might pick up a couple here and not kill us. But he could be a catalyst to open other things, So where do you think Micah lines up most on average? Well, from when I was watching him, I saw him a lot on the right, but I also saw him on the left, and sometimes they put him inside. Sometimes they were even saying he'll take like a 2 or 3 yard step back, and then he just shoots inside. And if you watch Tua is fine. You could give him, look, you could blitz him from the edge, and if he's got a pocket to step in, he navigates up and with that quick release, and he'll let it go. And so the edge pressure, that's a problem to anybody, but he mitigates it a lot more than some of these other guys. It's the interior pressure that really hurts him because he doesn't have that high-end scramble like, say, an Allen or Mahomes. And so you got to really have that interior sewn up. And guys like Jones and Eichenberg and Cotton, they can get beat real quick, and especially if they bring the blitz. And so I think Micah will probably line, to me, if it was me, all I'm doing, I'm going to put Micah on Jackson. I'll put, they have another, I forgot the other guy's name is. He's not too bad. They're edge players. Sometimes they play Lawrence on the edge. They'll play Lawrence on one edge and they'll play Parsons on the other edge in their base or sometimes in pass rush. But you know what? Let Teron suck up one guy and just work the rest of the group. But what Tua will do and what McDaniel will do is they'll roll away from Jackson. They'll put the protection to the right side and let Teron be one-on-one. So it's going to come down to me, Parsons and Lawrence working together in tandem, stunts and swaps and switches on Jackson and Robert Jones, and then Eichenberg or whoever's playing in those positions, and Cotton. So I think you're going to see him a lot on the right. I don't think they're going to waste Parsons on Teron unless they really think he could take him. I wouldn't test him. I wouldn't test Teron too much. I'm sure sometimes, but I think the majority of the time he'll be on the right side because you want your strongest piece against the weakest piece so you can get the quickest pressure and get domination and maybe some holds. And especially if Jackson's got an oblique, it's gonna hurt him. But then you can get, maybe Lamb will come in and step in, and then you got Lamb and Teron. I like Lamb better than Jackson, and then Lamb and Teron, but then it's the interior. How well do they hold up? And Micah sometimes lines up in the middle. Sometimes he does like Phillips. He'll line up in the middle and he'll do a stunt on the outside to the inside or stuff like that. So let's see. A key for us will be get pressure on Dak without the blitz. For both teams. Like on defense, I got Chubb on Adoga, Van Ginkel on Steele, watch Ferguson, pressure with limited blitzes. If we got to bring the blitz, then you could, sometimes we blitz a lot. We've kind of pulled our blitzes down. Fangio doesn't like the blitz. He likes the blitz around 20% and even less than that. They blitz 36%, but only got like 22% pressure rate. They're very inefficient in their pressure. Now, I didn't really do a breakdown of where the pressure came and how they got the pressure and all this other stuff. I just know in a broad-based understanding that they're very inefficient. And that inefficiency forces them to blitz more. Now, when they come against our front, our offensive line, will it be enough to force them to blitz because they're not being efficient enough? That is what I want to know. But for the defense, from our side, we do not want to get burnt deep. We don't want to give Fangio, if he blitzes 5 or 6 times, that's a lot for him. And he even likes to blitz less than that. So, yeah, and I think we can. I think Chubb and Van Ginkel can get that pressure from the edge unless both guys take a huge step up, because you do have you have 3 good guys inside. You got Smith and you got Martin and the guy, I can't say his name, but it starts with a B. He's okay. He's good in the run blocking, but not pass blocking. But you got a very stout interior. And so if we are inefficient in our pass rush and then we have to blitz, that could be a problem. So I totally agree with you on that. Let's see, what else do I got up for you over here? So I think that's really the keys for me. I don't know, did I put anything else down here? Oh, man, I forgot to do it. I always forget to do this, man. I'm going to be on AFC East Shakedown tomorrow, Tommy's Mafia Sports Report. I put it in big letters here. I'm supposed to say it right off the bat. I'm such a yutz. If you want to check me tomorrow, I'll be at Mafia Sports Report with Tommy. We're all doing the AFC Shakedown. Man, I figure I'd get this someday. I'm curious to see if Chris Brooks is going to be utilized in the run game this week. I think it would be good, man. They need a physical body inside, a big body. Get some of those run attack inside to wear that interior out there. Where they're a little limited. You know, their depth is a little soft. They got good pass rushers. All those defensive linemen can get after the quarterback. But if you run the ball enough and you force them to live on the weak side of their skill set, then they struggle. And you know, Brooks is a big guy. I don't like his now. If you notice, if you look at all our running backs over the last, 5-10 years, maybe, the big guys always seem to struggle. And because the big guys, they need to get that momentum. They're not really laterally savvy. They don't really have great lateral ability. And so if you don't have good yards before contact, the big guy tends to struggle. With a little guy, he can make a start and stop. He could change direction. He could slither through. And so, you know, maybe Brooks is a good guy if we can get that yards before contact. Last week, we only had 0.9 yards before contact with our offensive front against a Jets front that's even worse at stopping the run than this Dallas team. So Brooks could be. I like him. I like the big body in there. I don't want to bang A-Chain up in there. I don't want to bang Mostert in there too much. But Wilson, I think, is really good at it too. I mean, if you were to say to me, who would I want to run more? I'd run Wilson over Brooks. Brooks is bigger, and I like maybe what he could do down the road. But Wilson's a savvy guy. He's a good half-gap cutter. He's experienced, and he's physical, and he's been kind of sitting. And he hasn't been used a lot. And, you know, if you ever run a football, when your body starts getting tired, you tend not to deliver the blow, but Wilson's been sitting there. His body is fresh. And so he can come into a game like this and maybe not get the best yards before contact, but slam that body in there hard and really use his body up to wear them down and to open it up. And I like that he can maybe get a little bit more than Brooks. So I would go with Wilson. Getting some decent amount of carries. Mostert getting a decent amount of carries. Achane getting sparing use to the edges in the pass game, maybe to a screen or something like that. But I like Brooks where he can go, but I would take Wilson. Yeah, I like the use of the old school I formation. But you know, that's what I really thought McDaniel was going to bring some more of that here when he got here, and I think he wanted to. I just think certain personnel don't let him. If you watch around the league, the teams that are moving more to balance, to me, the defenses, it used to be pass attack was here as like, you know, the go-to way to be in the NFL. And then like everything else was down here. But the defenses, while they get, you know, there's certain areas where they're not, they don't have the same advantage. But you could see Manning used to got 50 touchdowns. Brady 50 touchdowns. You don't see that anymore. Every year the passing stats kind of keep getting flatter and flatter. It's because the talent cycles are going into these defenses, and then the defensive coaches are kind of understanding how to limit this stuff. But that run game and the balance, that's how KC won last year, by physical inside running. I think the I form and the running back and the physical play, it fuels the defense of your own team, because when you bang it out like that, game moves faster, and then the defense stays fresher over the course of the game and over the course of the season. I love the I formation. It's never going to go back to my 80s and 90s and maybe early 2000s, like early 2000s, but it is playing a part. I love to see if we could use some more of that. Let's see, in Dad, what's going on? I wonder if McD will take inspiration from Sperano, jumbo line. Yeah, right. Imagine that. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I think that if you added more physicality to this Dolphins offense with the speed and finesse, you couldn't stop it. but we're just so finesse. Some people say, oh, we're physical. No, well, sort of. But when you run that zone stretch, you can get some nice blocks. But a lot of times it's like shielding and stringing out. And then the running back will smack it in there. Or maybe one lineman will get a nice crack block. But when you run inside zone and that running back is, hitting the A gap and a B gap right on, and the lineman are, blasting it out, and that linebacker comes up and he gets smashed in the face by the running back, is way more physical. Change up with HN and that I could be a home run, especially the trick. Yeah, I know. Get some of your what was the play that you wanted? The swing passes, man. the out passes. What's the pass you wanted, man? Yeah, HN is good when you get him some space. I just don't like him running inside too much. Not yet. But we need to be more physical. I think it's something we need to going through this season and going beyond is the physical aspect. But that's what I got for you guys. Anything else you guys think? Anything you think I messed up? Anything you think I'm off on? Hit me up, man. I like to be told I'm wrong. It makes me think. I don't like to be wrong, but I like to find out that I'm right in the end. But ultimately, I think Dolphins should win this one. They're home. Smith is down. Dallas is kind of got its sphincter in puckering up. It's some of the pressure was taken off because the Eagles lost, but they want to win this one and they're on the road. Yeah, the wheel routes. Yeah, the wheel routes. That's right. And Merry Christmas to you, John. You're the best, man. I love you, man. But we should. I mean, it's going to be tough. My only concern is going to be the offensive line, Parsons and Lawrence, and do they get in there too quick? Does McDaniel figure out how to mitigate it? So that's my wrap up, man. I worry about HN in the long run. Nah, you know what? Some guys, listen, I like the kid a lot, but I got to be honest. Some guys, but everybody's body's built differently. Oh man, I'm so old now. My brain is fried. What's the he's pretty much a Hall of Famer for the Falcons. The little guy, he was like 190 pounds, but he ran he was with Allstat too over in Tampa. What was his name? Small little guy, but my brain is not working right, but he was like 190 pounds. Oh man, I can't believe I'm not remembering his name. It was Allstat and him with Tampa, and then I think he went over to the Falcons or whatever. But he had the kind of small man body that could take the licking, but he wasn't as fast, obviously. Warwick Dunn. Thank you, man. Garrett, man, you're bringing some good stuff today. Make sure you show up, man. Yeah, Warwick Dunn. My brain is not the hottest. Merry Christmas. Yeah, thanks as your Christmas present to me. Thank you, brother. But HN is HN doesn't look like he can hold up. And, it's okay. You got him in the third round. The guy's a lightning in a bottle. You might just need to use him sparingly. It might take him a year or two to get his body to the right position. He can grow over time. Yeah, worked out. All you guys know. You're a little smarter than me. But this year he's not. He's got way too many injuries, and it's a bad sign. But I wouldn't put that an indictment on a kid. I love the kid's toughness. I love so much about the kid. And, you got to give him 2 or 3 years to figure this thing out. But he is kind of slight. And I'm very surprised he got all these injuries. So who knows? The mini Marshall Faulk. Yeah, he is. He can catch and he can run, and he's super fast. Marshall Faulk wasn't as fast, obviously. But I think you just can't. You got to sparingly use this kid. And, if you're not taking steroids, it takes time to build the muscle up. It takes time to build because your joints, they heal a lot. They get stronger a lot slower than your muscles. And so if this kid takes maybe 2 more years just to slowly get himself ready, he doesn't get too many of these injuries, then maybe he can become that guy who's not full-time, but almost full-time. But this year, I think he's definitely a little too light. But then I'll take away from some of his speed unless he slowly builds his way up. Let's see. HN won't go down, so that might take a toll on us. Yeah, he's tough as nails. He doesn't want to go down. I love the kid. It's relative to the height though. 5'9", 110 isn't smallish, but 190, 5'11", 6 foot frame. Yeah. It's about the frame. What is Achan? He's what, 5'9", right? Isn't he 5'9", or is he? What's his height again? What's his height, Sean? Because I when I played, I was 5'8". If you gave me like a little like hair on top, and I was 185, and I was pretty decent shape, but Barry Sanders was 5'8", 203, and Emmett 5'9", 210. So how tall is he? He's 5'11". I don't think he's 200 pounds. I don't think he might have started the season at 200 pounds. Anytime you play, you get banged up and you just can't lift as much as you want. And then you can't eat the way you want. You're hurt. You don't lift as much. And then your weight slowly goes down a little bit. You start off the season, maybe 200. He ends up by 190. And I don't know. He looks more like 190 to me. If he's 5'11 and 190, yeah, I thought he was like 5'9", 190. That's a little thin. That's a little thin because Mostert is 5'11", I think, and he was 210, and that was a little small, 205, and now he's up to 220. And that's really the range of a guy who's going to take a lot of beating. Combine, he was 5'8.5" at 188. That's not too bad. At 5'8.5", small you are, man. I'm 5'8", so maybe that's why I like 5'8" backs. But 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", those are my favorite, man. I love I like the 5'11" too. Like Ricky was like 5'11". I think Walter Payton was 5'11". To me, 5'8" to 5'11" is like, I love that height. There's some guys like Dickerson and Henry and some other bigger backs, but I love 5'8", 188 is not too bad, but it's still a little bit small. But he's got big legs, but his upper body looks a little small. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I hope for the kid. I really love him, man. I love him. I love that kid. I want to see him make it. So anyway, guys, that's it. I think I'll say 27-21 Dolphins. But I'm a little scared because of that offensive line. But I'm just going to go fan mode on this one because I really wanted to happen. Love me some Ace Brad Curtis. Yeah, thanks, brother. I try to keep it real. I get in trouble, but I try to. I try to be evaluated, but I'm just like crying little 13-year-old kid or 12-year-old kid watching the Dolphins lose, So I want to see them win, but I got to be real, Because I don't get how some of these people, they just make predictions and statements and then they're like totally wrong. It's like they just move on like they've never said anything. I get it wrong, don't get me wrong, but I try to get it right. Lionel train lane was small RB, but he was tough as fast. Lionel Lane, who's that? Who's that, man? Who's Little Train Lane? Am I missing somebody? Come on, man. You're making me feel dumb over here. Splain. Lionel Little Train Lane was smaller. Who's you're talking about Lane from RB80s. I don't remember him. Man. You're showing me up, Garrett. Maybe you should host a show next time. All right, anyway, guys. Let's just hope we win. Let's hope no one gets injured. Guys, have a Merry Christmas. I'll do an ace per head, the video for the game, post game, Christmas Eve, and I'll be off Christmas. But you guys are the best. Even Garrett's is vying to take over my job over here, man. You guys, I appreciate everything you do, showing up, listening to me, putting these great comments out and all the other stuff. Have a great game on Sunday. I won't speak to you again except maybe in the comments. Have an awesome Merry Christmas with your family. And from Ace per head and Curtis, I say, ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas all. Let's hope it starts with a Dolphin win over Dallas. Night. Thanks, Papa. Catch you later.